very happy, but the ballet lessons and the piano classes were punctured by the Biafran War. How did you and your family go through that?
Well, let me step back a little bit, because I actually started my life in the village, living with my grandmother, because my parents both went abroad to study. So I lived with my grandmother in the village till I was almost, from the time I was 1 till I was almost 9 years old, before my parents came back. And you know, in those days, you know, this easy travel around the globe was not the case. Remember, this was in the 60s. And so they were gone for almost a decade before I really saw them and knew them. And so my grandmother brought me up in the village, and I did everything a village girl would do: fetch water, go to the farm with my grandmother, all the chores. I saw what poverty meant to be poor at first hand. But we lived a life of war. You know, we had 1 meal a day. We ran from place to place. We sometimes had to sleep on the floor, in a bunker, different places. One really saw what it meant to suffer hardship. I myself was almost killed once during an air raid.
What happened during this air raid attack?
We were supposed to take cover at the side of the house. It's very vivid, and we threw ourselves down on the ground, and you know, there was a young man who threw himself down next to me, and he got a bullet at the side. He didn't die, you know, but I think if he hadn't been next to me, I would have gotten it. But those experiences of the war really taught me, one, you know, I can take hardship, I can sleep on the cold floor at any time, I can also sleep on a feather bed.
You're a crucial part of the economic reforms that need to take place in Nigeria. It must have been a really tough decision for you, just 9 months into your job now, to walk away from that, knowing that you're a central part, that if you got this job, you wouldn't be there to see it through. If I can just put it to you as one businessman put it to me, he described it as unpatriotic.
I don't think there could be anybody as patriotic as myself. Do you know how many times I've come home to give service? This is the 3rd time. How many people in the diaspora, even how many people in the private sector would do that? So I wasn't even thinking of this. I was not seeking it, but it happened. And I'm very, very honored that the continent thought me worthy, that President Goodluck Jonathan thought me worthy to be nominated for this job.
Historically, a European gets the IMF job, an American gets the World Bank job. When you go to your job interview on Monday, what are you going to tell the panel to break the mold and tell them it's Africa's turn?
I think what we need to focus on is that the job should be open to competition from any qualified member, any qualified individual from the member countries, the shareholders of the World Bank group. The shareholders, the G20, they all said they want to open up the process to be a transparent, merit-based process. And so it's not necessarily this is Africa's turn or developing countries' turn or American turn or UK turn. No, what we're saying is let us have this open, merit-based process. The bank deserves the best leadership it can get. Let us compete. Again, I'm not afraid of competition. I think it's a good thing. And American deserves, as a Nigerian, as an African, as an Indonesian, as a Malaysian, to lead the bank if they're qualified.
39 former World Bank employees think so. The Economist, the Financial Times, a number of publications have put you forward as the right person for the job. Were you surprised by how much support you've got?
Stunned. Very humble. I was really surprised, you know, and very pleased.